Hello, everyone, and welcome back into another episode of Conversations with Chris and Cameron. It's episode 45, and we haven't filmed an episode in over a week, so we're going to be talking a lot of games with UK basketball. Of course, they have played against LSU, they came back against them, they played against Tennessee, came back against them, and of course, most recently, they defeated Texas as well. But we're going to be mainly talking about the Texas game and then previewing Ole Miss as well. But how are you doing, Cameron?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I was out of town again, but back and ready to talk Kentucky hoops. So,
Yeah.
but I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Getting as warm as I can before all the snow comes to hit us.
Yeah, I'm not ready for this snow. Of course, I am in Ohio. We're supposed to get hit between 8 to 12 inches. Sadly, I'm not back home in good old Kentucky, but Kentucky, they're expected to get hit with ice. So I'm like interested to see how much snow I get here in Ohio compared to Kentucky, though.
Yeah, around us we're projected to get like 14.
Ugh,
So
crazy.
I've seen everything from like 14 to like 13
Yeah.
something. I think I saw like 112, but nonetheless, we're gonna get a little bit of snow.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see who wins the snow contest for KSR. Of course, if y'all don't know about that, they have a contest. They have multiple companies. They are donating, and basically, whichever meteorologist gets their prediction correct or the most accurate, they will win $10,000. That $10,000 will be donated to a charity with whoever they want. So I'll be interested to see, who wins that. I'm pulling for TG Shuck though, because I used to work with him at ABC 36 in Lexington. Of course, I'm not there anymore, sadly, but I'm cheering on TG to win the contest.
Yeah, I don't really have a connection to any of them. I guess I would say Ryan Hall, y'all, just
Right.
because my dad and sister have watched him for a long time, so
Yeah.
I would guess I'd go for him.
Yeah, I know a lot of meteorologists don't actually like Ryan Hall, but like that's for another discussion a different day.
Oh, and they don't like him?
Yeah, they don't like him.
Huh? Yeah, I did not know that. I thought everybody just loved him. I'd never heard of anybody talk bad about him.
Yeah, it's more like the real meteorologists who like they don't really like him because, he's not a real one, like not a true meteorologist, like he just follows the weather insanely and he's pretty good at it though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't follow any weather much, but it seems like when I have seen him, he's been pretty accurate. But who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, who knows? But we're going to just briefly talk about, UK versus LSU and Tennessee. Of course, against LSU, everybody was ready for Mark Pope to get fired during the game. Even I was calling for his head that he should be fired. Of course, UK, they came back from 18 points. Somehow they came back and won, but we all thought UK was going to lose after Otegaway missed one of his free throws to tie it. Of course, UK fouled. LSU, the player, he missed both of his free throws. We called a timeout. Colin Chandler throws a Hail Mary pass. Malachi Moreno catches it. He hits the game winner. And then UK wins that game. The following game, they come back against Tennessee. They were down by 17 points against them, and somehow they came back and won. And I couldn't believe it whenever Colin Chandler, he got the steal and then got the assist to Otego away. And then basically after that, UK won against Tennessee as well. Of course, they had to get some stops and score again. Denzel Aberdeen basically had the most clutch basket of the season for UK. But, insane back-to-back games. And then, of course, UK controlled the game against Texas for majority of it. Of course, Texas kept it close, but UK defeated them as well. So, like three crazy back-to-back-to-back games.
Yeah, it was three wild games. The LSU one though, that was the Malachi Miracle. That was awesome
Yeah,
and very Christian Laettner esque with
yeah.
that one. But honestly, I think his was more impressive. They had an inbounder. They had somebody guarding the inbound. So
Yeah.
that was one thing that we did not have at that
Mhm.
time. So, but that whole thing, like
Yeah.
that whole it was just I felt like giddy trying to like follow all that. Like Colin Chandler kind of was backing up. He was like, "No, I was actually trying to throw it to Malachi." After Malachi had said like it wasn't even supposed to go to me or something. Like it was just a
Mhm.
fun thing to like follow. And Colin was like, "No, I was actually just I threw a dime." Like he
Yeah.
wasn't saying that in a cocky way. It was just like, "Yeah, I was trying to
Yeah.
throw it to Malachi." And yeah, that comeback was crazy. Like you said, a lot of
Yeah.
people were calling for Pope's job. And then Tennessee, man, like there's not many things that feel better than like going into that place
Uh-huh.
full of that just inside the pumpkin orange, where
Hmm.
it's just all around and it's orange
Yeah.
everywhere, obnoxious. All you hear is Rocky Top anytime it goes to and from commercial break. It's unbelievable
Uh-huh.
how annoying it gets. And then we just keep winning. And it
Yeah.
makes no sense. We're underdogs. You mentioned
Underdog.
come back from down 17. And credit to Colin Chandler on the play you were referring to.
Yeah.
He said, I heard him call it out, and I mean, I knew what they
Yeah.
were running, so I just went and jumped it. And
Yeah.
that play right there, is still mainly the clip from the Journey video where it shows it from the alternate
Mhm.
angle. That is
Yeah.
replaying in my head, even past this Texas game, all this. And then the Texas win was obviously good as well. Honestly, I had a friend that texted me that's just like a college basketball fan overall. He was like, "This one's the most impressive of the three," just because he has so much respect for Texas. Obviously, the other two being on the road are very key as well. But
Yeah.
beating Texas is definitely nothing to blow past. So it's three really good victories.
Yeah.
That makes it four straight now.
Yeah, fourth straight, the longest SEC win streak for Mark Pope. And I remember Joe Tipton just posted a graphic saying, like, longest win streak for Mark Pope with winning 4 games. And everybody was like, but he won like 9 games to start out, his first season at UK. So he was more talking about, winning 4 straight SEC games, longest for Mark Pope, like you were saying. But it's crazy for Colin Chandler. He went from basically being like QB1 against LSU to being defensive back one versus Tennessee. Like it's just crazy how much Colin Chandler has gotten better. Like he was great to begin his sophomore year, and then like the hype started to die down. It looked like he was starting to lose his confidence, and then come SEC play again, it looked like he's gaining his confidence again that he had at the end of his freshman year, plus the beginning of his sophomore year.
Yeah, he had the two big plays in the LSU one and the Tennessee one, but also Malachi there at the end because
Yeah.
he hit the shot obviously in the LSU game. But then he was also the one that stuffed Jalen Carey off of the offensive rebound on the
Yeah.
purposeful miss by Gillespie there at the end. So both those guys stepped up big time. And like you mentioned, Colin Chandler hit a good start where it felt like, oh, this dude's just going to be the greatest shooter of all time. He's shooting like 53% or something. And then he kind of reality check, kind of hit him, kind of played his way out of the significant minutes that he was getting early, but now
Yeah.
he's back and especially we'll talk about it, but with the absence of another guy,
Kam
he's
Williams.
obviously gonna have to step up big time
Yeah.
and I've been loving what I've been seeing from him recently. I mean, obviously he had the flu game the other night, so that was
Yeah.
awesome to see.
Yeah, I think every UK player should have a flu game basically from, going forward because Otagowe had his flu game against Tennessee. Colin Chandler had his flu game against Texas. Like, who's the next player that's going to have their flu game and like dominate?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to see anybody get sick, but gosh, dude, if it's going to result in that, then I'm not going to turn it down.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But we just wanted to briefly talk about LSU and of course the Tennessee game. We wanted to talk more about the Texas game, of course, where UK, like they basically led the whole game. Like, of course, what happened was Texas, they went on some runs, UK also went on some runs, and that was basically how the first half went. And honestly, a part of the second half where both teams were going on runs, and basically it came down to like who had the last run, who was going to, finish the game, and that's what UK did. And I was very happy that UK got the win against Texas at Rupp Arena and got their revenge compared to last year, where they just had a late game collapse last year against Texas. I couldn't believe that they lost, but I'm happy that they won 85 to 80. But with that win, it comes with Kam Williams more than likely being out for the rest of the season with a broken foot. Whenever we all saw the play happen where he injured his foot, like I didn't think it was going to be really anything serious. Like yeah, like it was a little non-contact, but I didn't think it was going to be like Kirk Carissa where he would miss the whole year. And like we were all hoping for the best, but then Mark Pope said at his post-game press conference that Williams has a broken foot and more than likely probably out for the season.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Now, like it's weird to think at this point, like we're down three starters
Hmm.
because Cam had really played himself into that role, and
Yeah.
he had been awesome recently. And then obviously with JQ and Jalen Lowe, and if you're looking at it and you say you get 13-6, 4-2 in SEC play so far, and you're
Hmm.
also down three guys. I would say, how in the world are we sitting at 4-2? But obviously,
Yeah.
this back half of it's going to be extremely brutal. But
Hmm.
um, even through the Cam injury, like he was being Cam early, and then
Yeah.
he obviously got hurt. So you hate to see a kid like that,
Hmm.
that was really kind of rounding into form and like becoming who he was going to be, getting hurt at this point, where it was like, dude, this guy's ceiling was endless, and he continued to
Yeah.
improve game by game, day by day, and you could really see it. And it was kind of early on. It felt like people were kind of blaming Pope on like not playing him enough, not playing him in the
Hmm.
right role and stuff. But he had very obviously formed what his role was supposed to be, and he was a shot maker, played great defense, just did all the right things. And so seeing him get hurt, especially with how good he had been recently, is very very brutal.
Yeah, it is definitely very brutal. And he was also changing up his game. Like instead of just shooting 3-point shots, he started to actually attack the rim. Like that's basically what Mark Pope wanted him to do. Like start to be more aggressive. Like other than like shoot threes, attack the rim, like, do some cut-ins like Kobe Bryant did last year. Like whenever you get the ball, attack the rim as well. And that's what he was doing towards his injury that he just recently had. And hopefully he gets healthy. Hopefully he comes back to UK next year. Of course, he could always hit the transfer portal, but I don't see that happening. But I love Williams. I love to see what he was doing towards, his injury before he got injured, and hopefully, he can come back from that and be better.
Yeah, let's not speak that portal into existence. We don't
Yeah.
want to even think about that. But yeah, hopefully when he's back to UK next year, he'll maybe
Hmm.
take another leap forward and be even better, which he was awesome so far for us, especially as of late. So I'm
Hmm.
very excited about getting him back. And obviously in the preseason, it was kind of like, dang, like this dude might just be a 1 year player, because there was some
Yeah.
I didn't even know where they were, but there were some mock drafts that were like having him drafted first round, and it was like, all right,
Uh-huh.
well, I guess he's just got to go if that's going to be the case. But
Hmm.
obviously that's taking a step back with that. So
Yeah.
I think next year is going to be a really really big opportunity for him, not only just for college but
Hmm.
future wise, because he's going to be in a junior season and playing an even bigger role next year. So especially as of right now, like we don't even know, like we don't even have a roster really next year.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. So I mean, he's going to be playing very big minutes and be a very important piece for us next year. So definitely, I think I speak for both of us with saying prayers for him and
Yeah.
prayers for a speedy recovery. And
Hmm.
yeah, get well soon, dude.
Yeah.
We love to watch you, and hate to see you go down and have to miss the rest of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And basically, before the season started, I projected that both Jalen Lowe and Kam Williams would be gone after their first year at UK. I was expecting both of them to go to the NBA draft, but I really don't see that happening now because, Lowe is injured, and then of course Kam Williams is also injured, and then everybody thought, Jaden Quaintance would go to the NBA draft no matter what happens to him this year. And like if he does come back, hopefully he does come back to UK like for this season, then he'll eventually go to the NBA draft after this year, no matter what, I feel like.
Yeah, no doubt. I am interested just to see what next year's group looks like, because obviously a lot of these guys,
Hmm.
with just the way that the staff had kind of structured it this offseason, going to get guys, and like I'm curious. I mean, it sounds bad, but I'm curious like if there's any that they kind of like push out for
Yeah.
for different guys to bring in. Maybe, hey, this didn't work out as good as we thought it would be, so like maybe it's best for you to
Hmm.
hit the road, and we appreciate you, and then they'll bring in somebody else. I mean, I'm just real curious of what it's going to
Yeah.
look like, because I feel like anything is on the table for this offseason. Like all,
Yeah.
all these guys return, all of them transfer out, some of them go to the league that you don't expect to go, and it all ends up being wild. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And I feel like, yeah, like you were saying, like probably the coaching staff will push out a few players. I won't say who I'm thinking, but probably everybody has some players in their minds who like the coaching staff might push out. Like I felt like they did that last year with one player. I won't say who, but probably we can all guess who that one player was that got pushed out from the program. Of course, we wouldn't mind having him actually back in this year for the UK with all the injuries we've had.
The guy you're referring to, is there a chance that we play him soon?
No, not that guy.
Okay, not that one. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yep, not. we can talk about that. Trent Noah, of course, UK will play against them on Saturday, but we'll talk a little
Or
bit
Travis
about that
Perry.
later. Or yeah, Travis Perry. Why
Yeah,
did I say that? It's late. But we're going to talk a
it
little
is
bit.
late.
Yeah, it is past midnight, and we're going to get this podcast uploaded like an hour before game time since the game is now at 11.
Yeah, yeah. The 11 a.m. is weird, but
Yeah.
I'm here for it though.
Yeah, but I want to talk a little bit more about the injuries, talk a little bit more about Texas, and then get into Ole Miss. But since the Mark Pope era has happened at UK, they have had at least 12 players injured. With Lamont Butler, he had to deal with an ankle and shoulder injury all year. Kirk Reeves breaking his foot. Jackson Robinson, his arm. Brendan Garrison, I think he was sick. I can't remember exactly, but I do remember him missing a game last year. Otegoway, Andrew Carr dealing with his back all year last year, Jalen Lowe, shoulder. Trent Noah, he also sprained his ankle. Mo Diabate, ankle. Aberdeen missed a couple games with dealing with a groin injury. Kam Williams, of course, uh, broke his foot, and then Jaden Quayton's torn ACL, knee swellness. Like it's crazy how many injuries we've had since Mark Pope has taken over, and even before Mark Pope took over, we had so many injuries. Like we always had one or two players out every single like year. It felt like under John Calipari as well. Like after I would say maybe after the 2016-2017 season.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. And people honestly, because of the recent like emergence of the 49ers like practice facility being right next to some electrical plant or something, they're like, is Rupp right next to one? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But
I
yeah, you mentioned like it's been absolutely wild.
Yeah, I saw that tweet the other day. I was so confused by it. I'm like, what does this mean? And I put in one of the group chats, but nobody ever responded back to me.
What, the Niners one?
Yeah, the Niners,
Oh yeah.
like somebody posted a UK meme, like it was on like a UK burn account, and they're like, I'm noticing something they said or whatever, and then like everybody else responded back to the tweet saying like, what do you mean? And then I put in one of the group chats, nobody responded. But now I finally understand.
Yeah, yeah. The I remember hearing on Pardon My Take probably like I don't even know, a month or two ago that there was like this Niners rumor or whatever about that electrical plant. And then I'd seen somebody tweet that the other day about UK, and it was like I'm noticing or something, and it said it was like an electrical plant like right by or something. I was like, dude, this fan base is just it's
Yeah.
just the absolute best and worst at times. But
Yeah. It
no,
was
the whole huh?
it was probably the same tweet that we both saw. I just didn't understand the reference.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't. I mean, I think it was completely made up because I honestly like I on Twitter with a lens of like most of this is going to be fake. Um, so I think it was like they took just like the on like Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever,
Hmm.
where it would show like electrical plant, and they just took that as like a sticker and just put it like right by Rupp, just
Yeah.
to like make the joke of like the Niners have this electrical plant that might be the reason for all their injuries, and then they put it right next to Rupp, and I was like, dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm pretty sure that I'm 99.9% sure that was fake.
That was fake.
Um, but nonetheless, it's a great joke. If you're online too much like I am, then it,
Yeah.
it made for a good laugh. But
Yeah.
but yeah, the injuries are unbelievable.
Yeah.
It literally feels like, I mean, in the 2 years we've had a point guard with just some crazy jacked up shoulder to where they have to wear a big boulder cast on their
Yeah.
shoulder. And then you mentioned all the countless ones where guys just had to miss certain games, and it's absolutely wild. I don't know what's going on. And then there towards the end of the Cal era, it was like it was so bad it almost felt like the fans got to the point that they got it to where they had fired whoever our like trainer was or something,
Mhm.
and then they had like gotten somebody else in that was
Yeah.
supposed to be like better, and then it was like
It's
he
the
wasn't
same thing.
cutting it. So then it was just like it's been
Yeah.
a countless thing. Like it's
Yeah.
unbelievable how many we've seen, and it's like I remember what was the game that we had the full roster? Was it St. John's? Is that the only one we've ever had?
I think it might have been the St. John's game because we had Jalen Lowe and Jaden Quayton's back, of course, and then Kam
That's what I'm
Williams was
thinking.
playing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah. So I think we had that one, and I remember looking at it, and I was like, man, when is the last time we had a fully healthy team? And
mhm.
then obviously after that, we because wait, they all played at did they all play Bama? Or no, no, no. So the next one, J Lo sat out the Bellarmine game,
Yeah, they sat
and
out.
then we played at Bama. Was everybody playing that one?
Let's see. I believe so because yeah, Jalen Lowe was playing Kam Williams, and then of course Jaden Quayton's also played. So
Okay,
maybe
so we've
that.
had two games.
Yeah, 2 games. Like it's insane how many injuries we've had. It might
So we've
have.
had two games this year fully healthy. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just crazy, like the injury curse. And I saw an old tweet from Wildcats Tongue earlier this week, and he was basically saying that the AD injury that he had against Baylor during the NCAA tournament was a sacrifice to UK winning the national title, and for UK to be cursed, the rest of the years with all these injuries.
Honestly, I'm honestly up for believing anything at this point. It's unbelievable
Yeah.
how many things we've seen these last 2 years, and like you had mentioned, it's not just Pope. It's not like you could blame it on like a play style or anything because it was all happening with Cal too. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know how. And somebody had mentioned a couple weeks ago there was like an injury report came out for Arkansas against somebody and it said like everybody are all available or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and everybody was like, dude, how did this happen, bro? Like, this dude didn't have a healthy team for the last 6 years, and now
I
he's
know.
down there with a fully healthy team. But I mean, it's crazy. The injuries obviously suck, but it's almost like at this point, like what else could happen? We're now down three starters.
Mhm.
It's crazy. They just
Yeah.
keep piling up.
Yeah, it is definitely crazy. And also, Ole Miss, they have their whole roster available as well going to the UK matchup. And I saw that as well. I'm like, why can't, UK actually have a fully healthy team for once?
Yeah, yeah. Everybody, it feels like everybody has it against us, but then
Mhm.
we can never have it against anybody.
Yeah, but let's get into this Texas game. I want to talk about that since that was our latest matchup, and then we'll talk about Ole Miss a little bit, talking about Travis Perry, of course, trying to get his revenge against UK after transferring from the program. But let's talk about Texas. And, I was surprised that UK won this game after Kam Williams, got injured. He played 4 minutes in that second half. And after that, he was gone. Of course, he played 16 minutes in total during the game, but I thought UK was going to defeat Texas. But then up until, Kam Williams got injured, that's whenever I got a little nervous, a little worried that, UK might not even pull off this win, even though it's at Rupp Arena. They got the tough win that they needed. And, longest win streak under Mark Pope for, SEC with 4 wins. And I was very happy about that.
Yeah, Texas is added to the list of like in the preseason, I said you've just got to defend Rupp, like because it was
Yeah.
doable, all this stuff. And then the North Carolina game was the one that kind of just threw a little shade on that.
And
But
then,
Texas is better than I think a lot of people expect in the
yeah.
preseason, and even they're better than their record indicates too. Like they've got some good wins. Um, so getting this win was obviously like very important. And like you mentioned with Cam going out, there was a little like, oh shoot, man, are we gonna slip up and like drop another one and then fall to what 12-7, I think it would have been at the time. So
Yeah.
I mean, there was some like negativity, like we're setting in right away, but part of me was just like, there is no way that like this like there it can't keep happening because I feel
Yeah.
like it's been a different jersey. We'll just see somebody walking back to the locker room like every single game. I'm like, how does this keep happening? But credit to the guys, they all rallied after that, and like I had mentioned, Cam was good while he was playing. So
Mhm.
then whenever he goes out, it hurts even more because he's the guy that's in the flow of things. So other guys will just step up
Mhm.
for sure, and they did in his absence. So they
Yeah,
were able to win that down the stretch.
yeah, they did for sure. And you can't also forget the Missouri game that we lost at home as well.
Yeah, yeah. The North Carolina one was the first one where I
Yeah,
was like,
North
oh,
Carolina
well,
was the first.
can't go undefeated at home if you already lost one. But the
Yeah.
Missouri game also, yeah, that one was some all time collapse stuff.
Yeah, but for this UK game, of course, quite a few players stood out. You can't forget about Otagowe had 18 points, 3 rebounds. Of course, Colin Chandler had a career night with the most amount of points he's ever scored with in college with 18 points and then 7 rebounds. So quite a few players stood out. But the one thing that really like got me going for this UK Texas game was Texas shot 2 for 18 from the 3-point line. Of course. They were getting some great looks throughout the game, but they only made 2 of 18. And usually, if you can hold a team to just make 2 3-pointers a game, you're going to win basically any game that you want to because so many, teams are relying on the 3-point line now to make shots.
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely a key of it because there was a few different times where I was like, oh no, they've got a decent look at it, and they would thankfully miss it. But a lot of those threes were kind of just super contested by us. So there's a credit to the guys with that.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you could hold a team to two threes made, then you're
Yeah,
probably feeling pretty good. And obviously it was a little tight there late, and it got a little shaky even towards the end, even after we had gotten a
yeah.
little bit of a lead, and then it kind of got close there towards the end. But nonetheless, hold them to two threes, and you got to feel pretty good about coming out with a victory.
Yeah, I agree with you on that for sure. I mean, for UK, they also like the first half, it was tied up 40 to 40. Of course, Texas went on some runs, UK also went on some runs, but I was so impressed by Otegowe with his two incredible dunks that he had. Of course, he posterized Texas's big man. I'm trying to pronounce his name, but it's Matats. I think Volket. I don't know how to pronounce
Vocatitis.
Volkatitis, but he
Yeah, Vocatitis.
yeah, Volkatitis. He posterized him, and then of course there was another play in the first half where he got the steal and then just slammed it home. And I was very impressed by Otego Way in that first half. Of course, Aberdeen and Owe led the team in the first half with points. Both of them scored 10 apiece, so they had 20 of UK's 40 points in the first half.
Yeah, that dunk on Vocatitis was just like awesome because it
Yeah,
was already at that point the fan base was ticked because of the way he plays and stuff. So I remember like seeing a group chat. As soon as it happened, they're like, "Dude, there's nobody better that he could have dunked on in that
yeah.
situation." I was like, "Yeah, man." But I can
It
go
was
out, got me
good.
out of my seat. So so that was awesome. And obviously, dunking on any big guy is awesome. But when it's a big guy of that caliber, pretty sweet to do. So that was an awesome dunk from Owe. But like you mentioned, great game overall from him.
Yeah, but another player that stood out for Texas was Daliyn Swain. He came from Xavier with the head coach, and I was pretty impressed. And he was one of the players that I had on my scouting report for Sea Blue that we had to guard him along with Tremont Mark. So UK, they overall did a pretty great job, other than like Swain. Like a few players scored double digits for them, but like UK just let Swain scored 29 points and then a few other players scored double digits. But, like if you're able to keep, a couple players to scoring double digits and only letting one player like let loose, you're going to be fine because UK had near multiple 20-point scores against Texas.
Yeah, he's definitely the engine that makes him go for sure. And like you mentioned, coming over from Xavier with Sean Miller, that was
Yeah.
kind of he was a dude that in the offseason, like I think we maybe reached out to him or something. I don't remember how the whole thing ended up working out, but I was like, I'd love to have Dalen Swain. And then he goes out there and balls out on us. And I mean, he was just incredibly tough to guard all night. He
Yeah.
was getting it from wherever. He was actually the two threes that they had made, but he was also getting downhill. And if he wasn't getting to the line because of somebody just doing all that they could to stop him, then he was probably finishing it. And he was just a really good player all night. It was unbelievable how good he played and everything. So, but like you mentioned, if you can let one guy kind of pop off and control the rest, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. And obviously, he had 29. If we would have let it a little bit more, we'd be in a tough spot. But holding him to under 30 was a decent way to go about
Yeah.
it as long as we were keeping everybody else kind of
Yeah.
under wraps.
Yeah, and there was really like other than like Tremont Mark, there was one other player that I was freaking out about for Texas, and of course it was Jordan Pope because he launches 6 3-pointers a game, and overall he's a great 3-point shooter. He wasn't against UK, and that's the main thing. And I was glad that we were able to lock him down.
Yeah, Jordan Pope is an absolute player. I remember he was at I believe Oregon State 2 years ago, but he had some like a couple crazy buzzer beaters that year, and it was like unbelievable. And then he went to Texas last year, and then came back this year. And like you mentioned, good 3-point shooter, the type of dude that can just kind of go off
Mhm.
randomly. So I was really worried about him because thankfully he never got really going, never got
Yeah.
into the flow of things. But he was definitely a guy. I mean, you could see he played the second most minutes on the team. You see how important he is.
Mhm.
Just kind of with the ball in his hands, without the ball, like he can just kind of fill it up for however he needs to. So keeping him like slow against Texas was very key.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, like I want to talk about Malachi Moreno real quick against Texas as well. He didn't have the flashiest in stats. He only had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. But I mean, six assists really sticks out to me because he's a big man and he's helping to, initiate the offense for Kentucky. Like he's becoming that Amari Williams role, and nobody projected, Marino to be like the best big man currently on UK's roster or team because like everybody was projecting him to be a project piece. Like once Jaden Quayton's returned, of course, Quayton's is probably the best big man on this year's team. But, everybody was projected that Quakens would return. He would be the main starter. BG would be, the backup center. And then Malachi Moreno would be playing these spot minutes, maybe like 5 minutes a game, not, being the starter and playing like 20, 25 minutes a game.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not think that. And like you mentioned, everybody was kind of in the boat that he would be a project guy, maybe not really play a whole lot year one, but maybe be something down the road. Now here he is against Vokatitis, which is one of the best bigs in the country that'll get
Yeah.
drafted. And obviously early it was a little rough. I was a little annoyed because like he was kind of getting whatever he wanted, but Malachi kind of held his own for the most part throughout the rest of the game. And you mentioned his numbers; he just kind of does a little bit of everything. He
Yeah.
can block it. He can get an assist. He can rebound it. He can score. Like he just kind of does a little bit of everything, and he is awesome for us. And obviously with JQ out, he's very important for us. So I've been loving watching Malachi.
Yeah, for sure. And really think since like that LSU game, like he has turned a corner and, he's blossomed into this player that we were expecting to see maybe come like his sophomore or junior year of college instead of his freshman year.
Yeah, for sure. He's been spectacular, and he's been kind of the rim protector that we were hoping JQ would be. So while he's out, that's been nice to have somebody that can still protect it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, overall, just as a player, he seems like he's much further along than I think a lot of people expect him to be in year one.
Yeah, for sure. And then like playing against one of the best bigs, in the country and in the SEC as well, but with Vokatitis because, like Vokatitis had a pretty incredible game with 15 points and 11 rebounds, had a double-double, but Malachi Marino's took it to him along with Andre Yelovich, and then of course Mo Diabate, our other bigs. But, our bigs, they were able to contain Texas big men, and that's the main thing.
And all these guys getting through it with I mean, basically being cheated because he was hooking every single time. That was kind
Yeah.
of I felt like all of BBN was like, dude, there's no way he can keep getting away with this. But
He kept it
credit to
and
the
he kept
guys.
doing that.
Yeah, he would do it over and over and over. And it was like there were sometimes Pope would just go out to the ref and he would just be like, dude, he's hooking every time. But they never called it. So honestly, being able to hold him to 15, even
Mhm.
though he was getting away with that every single play, is pretty good by
Yeah.
our bigs there. So I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, I was very impressed too. And then, of course, another thing that stands out to me is, the free throw shooting. UK shot 30 for 35 from the free throw line, basically 86%. And then Texas shot 18 for 20 from the free throw lines. And to just see a 15 free throw disparity, like to finally see UK got a home whistle and everything. And then, of course, Miller, the Texas head coach, he said after the game that his team has to start defending without fouling. He was like, there was nothing wrong with the officiating tonight. Like they were doing incredible, but our team has to start learning to defend without fouling because we could have won a couple more games. And he was like, we could have defeated Tech, or we could have defeated UK. We could have defeated another team. I forgot who he mentioned, but he was like, we need to start defending without fouling, and that really stood out to me.
Yeah, and honestly, early they I know he said that they he thought the officiating was good, but like man,
Yeah.
some of their calls early were a little close, I would say. Like they were rough. But yeah, I mean overall, like they're just kind of a team that they can score it. They know how to get to the line. Like they're smart about it. It's similar to like Shea in the NBA, where it's just like, all right, if you're just gonna get somebody in a bad spot, take advantage
Yeah.
of it, whether you're leaning into it or not. Like they get to the line, they're smart about it. So I mean, but the two teams shooting that well is crazy. Like
Yeah.
when they popped up the free throws like on the broadcast at some point late, I was like, "Are you serious? That's what the numbers are right now?" Like I don't remember many misses. The only one I remember um like noticing and just like being like, "Dang, that kind of sucks." Was late Denzel got a play. where he had just like gotten downhill. It was like short corner or something. He got fouled. And I remember like looking at the broadcast and it looked like he said like that wasn't a foul. Like I was like, I tweeted about it. I was like, did he just say like that wasn't a foul?
Uh-huh.
I thought it was funny because he was like, that was terrible. But then he goes to the line, misses the first. And I was like, well, ball don't lie.
Oh,
He said
don't
that's
lie.
not a foul. So that's the only one I really remember. But like everybody was hitting. I mean, for both teams. So very, very efficient. Had to be one of the most efficient free throw shooting games ever.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best free throw shooting percentage in a while for UK because like even last year UK struggled at the free throw line in the first year under Mark Pope and that was also one like the bad things under John Calipari. Like his teams could never shoot free throws, it felt like and like I would love for UK to shoot 80% or better from every game, like going forward, and hopefully, that can happen. Like, of course, the goal is to at least make 75% a game, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that would be a great goal. But like you mentioned, this game right here. I mean, if you could sit around anything near this, that would be unbelievable. And obviously, some of these games will be much lower. But yeah, I mean, for them to shoot 90 and us shoot 86, like that's crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very crazy. And speaking of Denzel Aberdeen that you were talking about earlier, he has really like proved himself that he can be point guard one for Kentucky. Like everybody was nervous that, he would be the next, like he would be the starting point guard with Jalen Lowe out for the year because of all the games we previously saw under Aberdeen where the ball just, you know, whenever he had the ball, like he would never pass, like he would just dribble the ball, it would annoy everybody, but he has been proving that he can take over that point guard duty. Like he can score, he can rebound, he can assist, get the team involved in everything. And that's the one thing I have really liked. That's the one thing I really have enjoyed to see the past few games, like Aberdeen taking over that point guard role.
Yeah, I think like spectacular would be an understatement for how good he's been recently. Like he's been awesome. And like you mentioned early on in the year, the ball would kind of stick with him, whether it would get swung up to him and he'd like hold it for too long, or just be dribbling the air out of it. It was always like something where we were like, dude, we just got to get into something. And now, credit to, I mean, Kentucky men's basketball, all that social media over there. Like in the Journey video at the Tennessee game, he had mentioned that like I noticed they were switching whatever, so we came and got a ball screen switch, and I noticed that they switched Jalen Carey onto me. So I said, I'm just gonna go get one. So he went, got downhill, got to his spot, and was doing his thing there. So like he's taking note of like everything that happens in these games, like a point guard would.
Yeah.
And now that he's playing more with the ball in his hands than he ever has in his career, coming from Florida, like he's like molding into that role perfectly. Like you mentioned, he's not we're not seeing the ball stick as much. He's advancing it. He's making plays, whether it's just getting downhill to create something or moving the ball and moving off ball once he swings it. He's just doing everything that you need out of him right now. And obviously it can be very, very bad desperation times without
Mhm.
a true point. But Denzel has stepped up into that role and it's been awesome to see.
Yeah, for sure. And just talking little bit more about him, he had 19 points against Texas and then 22 points against Tennessee. And like you were saying in the Journey video, like he's starting to take notice of stuff and becoming that true point guard, like having that point guard instinct with him. And that's the main thing that we want to see with him because if he can continue to improve and be that elite guard that UK needs, like UK could definitely make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Of course, it'll be hard to do with three stars being out, but anything can still happen. Like before the season started, we had high expectations. I had Final Four for UK. You probably had them winning it all. But right now, probably the goal would be a Sweet 16 or an Elite Eight run at this point.
Yeah, it's so funny. So this Louisville fan texted me the other day and he was like, "Hey man, I just want to text you about this because I know you're a realist about this stuff." And I was like, "All right, I appreciate that. I'll take that as a compliment." And
Yeah.
he had said one of these UK fans come up to me and he said like this Texas game proves why we're Final Four caliber. And I was like, I don't know if this guy's been watching Kentucky this year. Like if he watched the first half of Tennessee or the first half of LSU, like
Yeah.
those still give you a little bit of pause where you're like, all right, I don't know about all this. Like we're not quite to that point. But you mentioned Sweet 16. That's where I feel like we are at this point. Like this is
Yeah.
a second weekend type of team. As long as things continue to go this way and we stay healthy with what we have left. But like
Mhm.
if you're talking Sweet 16 team, then like similar to last year. Obviously, if we don't match up with Tennessee or you're playing a team for the third time in a season, then
Hmm.
maybe they do end up miraculously winning another game. Then you're in the
Yeah.
Elite Eight. And then you're just like there's nothing to lose. You just go out there with a
Hmm.
nothing to lose mentality. And there's gonna be a lot of teams with more pressure on them at that point. If you're sitting at I mean, right now I've seen a 7, 8, 9 seed.
Yeah.
So like if you're at that point, you're playing teams that have a whole lot more to play for
Hmm.
to kind of back up what they were this season. So that's I mean, you're kind of that underdog role. It's kind
Yeah.
of, I mean, we've talked about 2014 a million times, but like going with that
Hmm.
mindset where you're sitting there with the higher number by your name, like you kind of go with nothing to lose and an underdog mentality. So, like you said, Sweet 16, I think that's kind of where we are right now. But
Hmm.
it taking a game at a time, and you can continue to go as far as some of these guys lead you.
Yeah, and at worst, I feel like a round of 32 team. Like, I feel like at worst, this team could be, but I really don't think they'll lose in the round of 32 as long as they can continue to win and everything, like, easily a Sweet 16 team at least.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like you said, if because you think if we're like a 7, then you're playing a 10, and I don't know what all the bracketologies have us playing right now, but like you could beat that team, and then you get
Yeah.
to the round of 32. I think you're probably gonna feel decent about that. So I think these guys are gonna be in a good spot as long as they continue to just continue to win game by game. Like we mentioned, it gets a little tough from here, but there's no game on here that I'm like, there's no way in the world we can win it because these guys have
Hmm.
the cardiac cats, man. They just continue to just do everything in their power to just wheel out victories game after game.
I agree with you on that, but do you have anything else you want to add about Texas? And then we can talk a little bit about Ole Miss and wrap up the podcast.
I don't think so. I was looking. Okay, so the newest what is this? I think this is Joe and Artie's. And then it says a 7 playing NC State, who's a 10, and then it's Purdue Wright State would be the next matchup. I mean, we've obviously played Purdue. I didn't mean anything,
Yeah,
um,
we did play
but
Purdue.
yeah, we did scrimmage them, so
Yeah.
we can at least hang our hat on that. Like they are beatable. So, but I mean, if you get to a 7 seed, and if you win off, if you rattle off a couple wins here against this like tough stretch, because I think we have like the toughest strength of schedule in the country. The rest of the way, I think.
Mhm.
If you can rattle off a few of these wins, you can get yourself up to even a higher seed.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And UK just they need to continue to win, stack up wins, and I'm hoping that UK can win their next two games, and then of course come in against Arkansas and actually pull out the upset there because like it would be great to defeat John Calipari. We all wanted to defeat him last year at Rupp Arena. That sadly didn't happen, but defeat Ole Miss, defeat Vandy, and then defeat Arkansas, and then like you're back on top of the world. You're probably ranked I would say in the top 15 again, maybe top 10, but like UK continue to stack these wins and we'll talk now about Ole Miss. So, of course, last year UK got blown out against Ole Miss. It was never really close. Like UK got down, I think even past 20 points last year. And like I said, never really close. UK lost 98 to 84 last year against them. UK tried to make a comeback in the second half, like they always did last year and then this year as well, of course. But it was never really close. And UK they want their revenge, like they wanted their revenge against Texas, this year compared to last year as well.
Yeah, that Ole Miss game last year was ugly to say the least. It was
Yeah,
a very nasty game, but
27
last year
points
that
we
was
were down
the
by.
we got down 27.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
27 points last year,
yeah,
and
that
we
that's a problem.
and only lost by 14. Like cut their lead by half at least.
Yeah, it is funny like looking back because that was the game that like so that was the Mark Pope hand game where he
Yeah.
came out to the press conference and he had blood on his hand and it was like, "Oh, what in the world happened?" And then it seems like I don't remember who it was in the offseason, but somebody had mentioned it might have been when we interviewed Ainsley. I don't know if that was I don't know, maybe,
We
but
did
somebody
talk
had
to him
mentioned
about
like
that.
okay, we did. Okay, so he had mentioned something about like yeah, the Ole Miss locker room. Like it's something that I don't think anybody's ever going to hear the actual true story about what happened. But
Yeah.
we'll always hear these like these wives' tales of it.
Yeah.
But that game last year was the point where it all switched. So I
Yeah.
think there's some sour taste in some of these players' mouths that were around last year, and the same with this coaching staff. So you mentioned getting down 27. That game was ugly,
It
start to
was ugly.
finish. and just like it's Ole Miss. Like going there, having that happen to you, it's just kind of like, dude, this is the worst case scenario. So I'm very excited for this one, just to like kind of get this lick back. And like, I mean, last year it was just ugly.
Yeah, it was definitely very ugly. At that point in the season for UK, they were 15-7, 4-5 in the SEC after losing to Ole Miss. And then this year's a completely different story. Ole Miss really they've been struggling. This year they brought one back. They brought back one of their star players with Malik Dia. Malik Dia killed UK last year. He had 16 points. He also had 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 1 steal in 24 minutes. And for Malik Dia this year, he's been killing it for them. He already has, he's the leading scorer for them, 13.6 points per game. Of course, the leading rebounder as well with 6.8 rebounds per game. So overall, he's been killing it for Ole Miss and continues to prove why he's one of the best, like forwards in the SEC.
Yeah, Malik Diaz is an absolute dog. You mentioned him coming back. He's been there the whole time with Chris Beard in his 2 years, and
Mhm.
but dude's a special player, and like he's been that dude for him all year, and been a super consistent piece for him. So he's going to be a big time player to stop. Like you mentioned, he kind of killed us last year, so definitely
Mhm.
gonna have to slow him down to try to erase what happened last year.
Yeah, for sure. And then another player that stands out to everybody is AJ Store. For him, he came from Wisconsin. Chris Beard took a chance on him, and everybody was expecting him to be like one of the best players. Like he's right now tied with Malik Dia with the most points per game with 13.6. But so far, he really hasn't been living up to expectations for Ole Miss, and that's one of the reasons why they've been struggling this year too.
Yeah, so AJ, I can't find his high school path, but I'm pretty sure his high school was like ridiculous too. But started at St. John's, transferred to Wisconsin, went to Kansas, now Ole Miss.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. But he's starting to
Oh,
figure it out a little bit though. He's been pretty good for him this year,
yeah.
especially as of late.
Yeah, St. John's, Kansas, Wisconsin, then Ole Miss, like crazy. He's been on 4 different teams.
Oh, and was he at Wisconsin last year?
Yeah, he was at
Or no, he
Wisconsin.
was at
No,
Kansas last
yeah,
year.
Kansas last year. Yeah, I
Yeah,
overlooked
because
that.
at Wisconsin, yeah, okay, he was averaging 17. It was crazy at Wisconsin, and then he
Yeah,
went there and he was part of their like where they had paid $1 billion for their roster at Kansas, and then it kind of
yeah,
flamed out. He was part of that,
yeah.
so I think everybody kind of viewed him as used goods whenever he left there, but he's starting to figure it out though, as of recent.
Yeah, Chris Beard definitely took that chance on him. And like I said, that's probably one of the reasons why they've been struggling because like everybody was expecting him to be, the leading scorer for them, probably like averaging more than 13.6, more like probably like 17 or 18 points per game. But sadly, that's not the case.
Yeah, no doubt. But maybe that ends up obviously probably won't get that high, but he scored 4 straight games where he scored 17 plus. So
Yeah.
maybe he gets his average up as the year goes on, but it seems like he's starting to figure it out, but he's not quite the absolute star that
Yeah.
people I think were expecting him to be that he was at Wisconsin.
Yeah, and then everybody should know who this guy is because everybody says he's the Tyrese Halliburton clone, but the third leading scorer for Ole Miss is Elias Kamardine, Kamardine,
Ilias Kamerdine.
Kamardine. Yeah, all these
Yes.
names are so hard to pronounce. It's
The
crazy.
only reason I know him is just from like watching the sport overall. Because at
Yeah,
Camerdine, it was like I don't remember what the first game was that I noticed him, but I was like, there's no way that's not Tyrese Halliburton. Like
yeah,
he's literally to a T, the same
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, and he's the third leading scorer for Ole Miss. He's averaging 11.3 points per game, along with 4 assists and 3 rebounds per game, and also shooting the ball 44% from the field. But everybody should know who this guy is, and just because he looks like Tyrese Halliburton and plays like him too, like shoots like him, dribbles the ball like him, passes the ball. It's insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. Like it's so wild how much he looks like him. And then you mentioned like he also plays like him. Like he just does a little bit of everything. And he's obviously been good for them, but it's wild how much he looks like him. It's crazy.
Yeah, and going talking a little bit more about their roster. Of course, you've got Patton. Pinkins as well. He's their fourth leading scorer with 8.7 points per game, nearly 2 rebounds, and nearly 1 assist per game, shooting 51% from the field. And honestly, like Ole Miss, they don't really have a roster that scores a lot. Like you've got three players that score in the double digits, and that's basically it. They don't score a lot. They only average 75 points per game. So to see only three players average double digits is pretty insane to see.
Yeah, it is crazy to see that, especially in 2026. But that Pinkins kid, he was the one that just hit the buzzer beater at Georgia. So he's got a little like I guess chip on his shoulder now that he's got a little something going. So he's been good as of late. He's had a couple of games where he was down, but I mean at Georgia, they're obviously ranked good team. He scored 18.
Yeah.
He had 25 at Oklahoma. He had 15 against Auburn. So like he showed up in some big games for him
Yeah.
recently in his freshman season. So he's definitely gonna be a guy to watch. But like you said, they don't like overwhelm you points wise. Like there's not like five, six guys averaging double digits like some
Mhm.
of these teams that we've seen. So, but they're going to be very difficult to guard because they have some depth that they just kind of throw random guys out there at you.
Yeah, for sure. And he's the best three-point shooter on their team, other than Corey Chest, who is shooting 100% from the three-point line. But for Patton Pinkins, he's averaging 43.4% from the three-point line. So he's definitely a name that UK will have to be able to guard from the three-point line.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the Corey Chest dude is like you said he's shooting 100%.
Yeah, he probably has
I'm
only
trying to
shot
see.
one three.
I'm I'm assuming yes, he is 1 for 1. So he's our Zach Tao.
Yeah, he's our Zach Tell. Yeah.
But yeah, the Pinkins kid, he can fill it up. He can shoot it for sure.
He did it against
But yeah.
Auburn. Like in the most recent game they had, he did against Auburn. He made the shot, like made a
Oh,
three.
the Corey Chess kid.
Yeah, the Corey Chess kid.
That's hilarious. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. In the most recent game, though, he made the three, so that's pretty funny.
Yeah, shout out Corey Chess.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't do that in this game.
Yeah. Watch him like nail like 5 threes against us.
I'll be ticked if he even keeps us 100%.
Yeah.
I'll be a little upset.
Yeah, but their roster, they don't really have a lot of scores, so we really won't talk too much about their roster other than, of course, Travis Perry. It's the homecoming for him, of course. He played for UK last year. Sadly, he transferred out the program. But he was one of the players I was like, I'm okay with him transferring. Like I thought we could get somebody better than him in the transfer portal, and we honestly really did with Denzel Aberdeen. Like Aberdeen, of course, was going to be our, shooting guard, basically our backup point guard with Jalen Lowe, but the starting five was going to be Lowe, Aberdeen, Owe, and then probably Kam Williams, and then Malachi. Like how the season was going basically. But uh, I'm happy with Aberdeen over Travis Perry though, because Perry is only averaging, nearly 6 points per game, 1 rebound and 1 assist, and shooting 36.4% from the field. So not overall very great, but happy to have, I feel like, Aberdeen over Perry.
Yeah, 1,000%. Well, I mean, it's definitely an upgrade, and as sad as it is to say that, like obviously we wanted the all-time Kentucky high school points leader to work out here, and we wanted I'm assuming he won Mr. Basketball over Trent. I don't
Yeah,
remember how
yeah,
that all worked out, but obviously we wanted it to work out. It didn't, and I think a lot of the kind of I mean even Eastern Kentucky, it feels like Eastern Kentucky and Western Kentucky unite when it's like a player from the state.
yeah.
Everybody it
Eddie,
felt like was like when he yeah Eddyville. Like it felt like when he left, everybody was like, "Oh, we're letting a good one go." Like there's no way we could like recover from this. Like you mentioned, 6 points, and the one thing that he was supposed to be able to do really well for us was shoot the three.
yeah.
36%. We have a few guys doing that. Like it's not like he's doing anything that we're really missing. Honestly, I wanted just selfishly as a fan, and I'm sure this would have made you happy too. Is I wanted him to go to Western. Like I thought
Yeah,
it'd be awesome.
I want him to go to Western too, but like he decided to stay, in the SEC, and he also probably got paid more, got paid a bag to go to Ole Miss because, he probably took a little bit of a pay cut to come to Kentucky just because, he's a homegrown kid, Still gave him probably a lot of money, probably six figures. I wouldn't be surprised if he got six figures here at UK, but probably he's getting way more at Ole Miss, probably still in the six-figure range if I had to figure, but like still crazy to see that. Perry is at Ole Miss and not at UK. Like I would have loved to see him at WKU, like you were saying though.
Yeah, no doubt. And I was looking, it's only an hour further to Ole Miss. So it's not like he's like, with how far west Eddyville is, it's
Yeah,
like it doesn't make it that bad for him. So, and obviously, I mean, Chris Beard is one heck of a coach, and obviously he's got some baggage, but the man can coach basketball,
he can.
nonetheless. So he's obviously, I'm sure, prioritizing who the coach is and everything. But I'm sure Ole Miss was always in the cards just because it was a little bit close to home. People could come watch him, and honestly, I mean that program, they got a nice arena and everything. Like it's still SEC, but it feels like it's obviously a step lower and everything. So maybe the pressure and lights aren't on him as much. But I wish he would have gone lower, just so like we could see him just ball out,
Yeah,
be amazing, have the ball in his hands more, and do all of that. But I don't
yeah.
know. Well, now we got to play him and hold him off from having a great homecoming.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have too great of a game. Like I said, he's more of like their third string, like point guard for them.
Yeah, he's not going to play too much. I do have a question though. Do you think what do you think like the response can be by like the crowd for those that even like tough it out to go get there with the weather and everything? Like
Yeah,
do you think there's going to be more booing or cheering or like just like kind of nothing? Or what do you think it's
yeah.
going to be?
I feel like it's probably going to be more nothing just because, like there's probably not going to be a lot of fans going into the game just because like you were saying the bad weather, but I don't think UK fans would actually boo him. I think it would be either more nothing or more cheering for him compared to John Calipari last year at Rupp Arena. Like everybody was, rooting against John Calipari even though he won UK national championship. I was in the crowd last year where I was like, let's boo Calipari. Like he's trying to defeat UK, of course. He did defeat UK. It was definitely very hard on me to see that, but I'm in the crowd of saying, hey, let's cheer on, Perry because like he really didn't do anything wrong at UK. Like, he did his best last year. Like he actually became the starting point guard for UK because Lamont Butler got injured, Kirk Creesa got injured, and he had to step up into that role and he did everything that he could for UK last year. And, I feel like we should, cheer him on.
Yeah, I mean he went from playing at Lyon County to like 8 months later guarding Mark Sears. So
Yeah.
it was crazy. He kind of got hoisted into that, and obviously we wanted it to work out, but here he is, and it didn't work out. So, and obviously the like you mentioned the Cal thing last year. Like I never thought in a million years we were going to lose that game. Like it's still
Yeah.
that game still pains me till this day. Let's not make it happen again with Travis Perry. Like we don't need to see some like lights out performance from him and him come in here and just stun us or anything. Like let's just go ahead and like
Hmm.
keep him shut down when he does check in and everything. Like, but I do think it'll be a cheers. Like I think there can be. I think you'll be able to hear it on the TV, like when he's checking in.
Hmm.
And maybe there's something where it ends up lining up that like Jasper's going to the table at the same time, and like
Yeah.
the
That
crowd obviously
that
loves
that would be
Jasper.
cool.
So like yeah, you could see like the two go up together, and then Travis is going up. It's like it kind of might mix, but I don't see a world where anybody would boo. I feel like
Yeah.
you got to be just kind of low to boo. Like this kid obviously left for the betterment of himself. Like he
Hmm.
wasn't being a traitor by any means. It's not like he was like killing it at UK and then went somewhere just for more money that he's in a big role. Like he just kind of went somewhere where I think it kind of fits him more.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And like I said, I really don't see, in any way that UK fans will actually boo Perry. Of course, like I said, they booed John Calipari. I agree with everybody booing him because, like John Calipari, like, he's more of a villain. Like he loves that villain role, wherever he goes. And, even at UK, like I always love sharing that video every time UK defeated somebody on the road saying, you're going to hate me because I come into your town and beat your team. And I love that clip. Like I used it every time, UK defeated somebody. And now I use the Mark Pope clip every time UK defeats somebody big saying, who's in the house tonight? UK.
UK,
Who's
that's a
in the
classic.
house tonight?
We
UK.
I do love the that cow videos all time. The
Yeah.
you're gonna hate me.
Yeah.
But he definitely has adapted that villain role. But he's also not that he's becoming like a sweetheart, but like I feel like the more you see these like legends just retire and stuff, it's like now it's like Izzo, him,
Hmm.
Patino. Like, and Patino's not ever gonna be like kind of just the Mr. Nice guy. I feel like
Yeah.
so. So like Izzo and Cal are kind of getting a little like sweetness to them, where they're like, hey, maybe I mean now I'm one of the last few guys that are kind of hanging around. So they'll have
Mhm.
these jokes that they crack in the post game and stuff, and obviously we'll bless you.
Thank you.
We'll
That was a
always
pleasure.
we'll always respect Cal and everything, and we'll end up loving him whenever he comes back to
Yeah,
UK. But like obviously
yeah.
right now, very very touchy subject.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk more about Coach Cal in a little bit whenever UK plays against Arkansas, and that's coming up very soon, of course.
Hey, next week,
Yeah, next
next
week.
week, next
Yeah,
week is brutal. That two
yeah,
game stretch. I know Vandy's kind of come down
yeah.
to earth a little bit, but that's a team that started 16-0. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy, but we'll definitely talk more about Coach Cal and everything. The only other thing I really want to mention on the podcast, speaking of villains, I mean, during the Journey video that UK posted with whenever they were playing against Tennessee, basically Colin Chandler said that, UK is embracing the villain role. And then, of course, during the pregame shoot around, Cody Figure saying, we are the villains, and I posted that clip online and everything. And that really stood out to me because I was like, wow, UK is still UK. They are still the villains even after John Calipari has left. Of course, I feel like, like UK isn't nearly, as hated whenever Calipari was here at UK. They, of course, are still hated, but not nearly as bad as it was before with Calipari.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. When Cal left, he got a lot less hate, and then we also got a lot less hate. Like
Yeah.
it's just a whole mix. But like you were talking about, kind of adapting the villain role, that kind of showed up big time right after the buzzer. We didn't mention it at Tennessee. We can't really repeat what Owe said to
Yeah.
Jalen Carey, but Nate Mint wasn't a fan of it. He shoved
Yeah.
Owe or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it was a mess, but that's what villains do. They always just get under
Yeah.
somebody's skin even after the buzzer and then kind of starts fight. Which shout out to Mark Pope. I think he ran like a 3 flat 40 right there to go
Yeah.
stop
And
that
then
fight. It was
and
very
then just
impressive.
pulled, Brendan
Dude.
Garrison's jersey away. It was insane his strength, his grip that he had.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, there's never been a stronger human than Mark Pope stopping a fight. Cause like you
Yeah.
remember the everybody is gonna remember the Pat Kelsey thing, like year
Yeah.
one over by the Louisville
Yeah.
bench, and he's got Pat Kelsey in a chokehold or whatever. Like it was yeah,
Yeah.
it's hilarious how strong he gets. He gets that dad strength whenever a fight breaks out.
Yeah. Hey, UK is 2-0 now whenever Mark Pope has to pull Brendan Garrison's jersey during a fight or altercation.
That is true. That
Yeah,
that
that
is
is.
very true.
Yeah, but hey, lesson learned for Otega Way. Don't call anybody fat, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. I get what was it? Drew Franklin was the one saying like he was just checking in on his Weight Watchers. Like he wasn't saying anything bad. He was just he was making sure he's just following his diet.
Yep, for sure. But I don't think I have anything else. You want to add anything at all?
Well, honestly, one last thing with that the Tennessee game. So I left Saturday morning
Hmm.
to go on a family vacation to Tennessee. I brought Kentucky stuff because I had some confidence that like we can go win this thing. I don't know
Yeah.
how sure I am, so I'm not gonna lie. I did bring a few extra outfits, but I will say I rocked that Kentucky blue on Saturday night once we got
Yeah.
there. I rocked a Kentucky thing on Sunday,
Hmm.
Monday. I got a few Go Cats down there in Tennessee, so it was. I mean,
Yeah.
BBN was still out there rocking, but it was so funny to like glance over and see just one of those nasty orange tees on somebody's
Yeah.
shirt or hat. I just like I have a little smirk inside where I'd be like, yeah, we own you boys. So
Yeah.
it was nice to go be like in the state of it. I wasn't in Knoxville, but
Yeah.
just being able to rep the blue in enemy lines, it was awesome.
Yeah. UK is, I think it's now 6-2 against Tennessee, and they're like last eight matchups or something like that. It's crazy.
I think like not even saying this because of like the meme. I think we've won 6 of the last 7.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, something like that. The 6-7 mean though.
Yeah, yeah, it always makes
But
sense.
yeah.
But
Yeah, no, I was in Fort Wayne. I was visiting one of my old college friends. I was like, you know what? My girlfriend's working this weekend. Might as well, get out of town. And I saw one of my old college friends. And now this weekend, my girlfriend and I will probably be snowed in, but we'll be watching UK and UC play. So, because
oh yeah,
UC. But yeah, no,
heck
last
yeah.
weekend, one other thing I want to say. Last weekend, I was bumping that Rocky Top after UK defeated Tennessee. That's the only acceptable time to play Rocky Top is if UK plays against or if UK defeats Tennessee. Like if you play that any other time, then like I expect you to turn it off immediately.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time we've mentioned it. I'm not gonna lie, I played it right after the game as well. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll play it with like an evil laugh with it because
yeah,
it's like I don't even like the song. Like, obviously it's catchy, but like I hate
yeah.
the song because of how much they play it. It's so annoying. But
Hmm.
then there's nothing like throwing on a little Osborne Brothers Rocky Top right after
Yeah,
a victory down there, and you're just like, dude, you guys are just like you're our son. Like that's it.
Yeah,
So I did play that right after, and then I went straight into Water Verve after that. So
whatever.
yeah, little Water Verve is always awesome.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, my girlfriend will like play, Rocky Top every now and then. I'm like, turn that off. Like, I don't want to hear that. She only does it to like make fun of me because she knows I'm a big UK fan, big UK homer and everything. And then, I tease her back saying, "Oh, UC is about to lose to this opponent," or I'll be like, "UC lost to Eastern Michigan. UK hasn't done that yet, though."
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, no doubt with that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's always just nice to beat Tennessee. Like
yeah,
I'll always play the celebratory Rocky Top. That's the only time,
yeah,
like you mentioned, like I'll play it that one time, done. And
yeah.
obviously, we haven't got to do that much in the fall with football. So,
Yeah.
getting to do it in basketball is pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, I completely forgot. We almost forgot to skip over score predictions and everything for the Kentucky basketball versus Ole Miss game. So we can do that. I'm looking right now to see who is favorites. Like I expect UK to
I think we are about 10. I think is what I had
10.
seen.
Good
I,
Lord, that is a
I think
lot.
that's what it was.
Let me go look and investigate.
Well, we were a 6 point favorite over Texas, which we didn't cover because we only won by 5, but it was like
11
six and
and
a
a half.
half,
Yeah, you're right. 11 and a half.
11 and
Like
a half.
that's insane.
Yeah.
So
It's a
let's
lot of
get
points.
let's get into score. Oh, now it's down to 9.5 points, and I'm definitely going to go against that spread. Like I think Ole Miss will cover against UK, but I do think UK will win. Right now the over under is 143.5, so they're expecting like UK to score 78 and Ole Miss like scoring 71. I feel like something like that. Like I'm close to the over under for that, but. Let's go with UK defeating Ole Miss. I'll go with 82-74. UK gets the win. They win by 8 points. I feel like Ole Miss will keep it close like Texas did, but UK just makes a few clutch free throws at the end of the game, expands their lead to 8, and like it's going to be, I feel like, a close contest throughout like the Texas game, but UK gets the win. And for my MVP, I'll go with Jasper Johnson. Like he's going to just show out against Travis Perry. Like Travis Perry might not get a lot of playing time, but he's going to show that he's the better Kentucky guard compared to Travis Perry and everything. And I'll go with him, and I'll say he'll have 13 points. I'll go with like 3 assists and like 2 rebounds. Like he'll show out against the other Kentucky boy.
Okay. I like it. I like it. I am waiting on like one big Jasper. Like Jasper played really well at Tennessee. I'm waiting on
Yeah,
one game that he
in the
just
first
absolutely
half.
pops off.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'll go with the Cats 74-67. And I will go with Colin Chandler MVP. I'm gonna go with he has like 14 points, 15 points, 16 points, somewhere around there. To kind of back up his 18-point game that was awesome. Maybe he's found a little spark, and he's obviously going to have to play bigger minutes and more important minutes with Cam out. So I think he's going to be hoisted into a new role, and he's gonna play really well in it. So I have the Cats winning by what is that, 74-67, then
Yeah.
Colin Chandler.
Yeah, and then I had 82-74 with Jasper Johnson being the player of the game. So hopefully we're both right. UK wins, and hopefully, maybe UK does actually cover the spread. But I feel like 9.5 is a lot. Granted, I know Ole Miss, they've been terrible 11-7 this year, but I just feel like 9.5 is way too much.
Yeah, I mean that is shockingly high. I was kind of surprised by the Texas spread too. Like I feel like there's a team that I can't really see us like blowing anybody out. Like
Yeah.
I just don't like this team just doesn't feel like that. But I hope they prove me wrong. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, hopefully, we're both wrong and UK can just win in a blowout, like win by 10 plus, 15 plus. I mean, like, hey, we did blow out Purdue at the very beginning of the year, granted exhibition game. Like, I just want that for, one game against a power opponent, it feels like.
Yeah, I do just I want to blow out somebody, and
Yeah.
we're running out of some teams to be able to do that. So
Yep.
this is one of them, and maybe they end up proving us both wrong, and they end up doing it.
Yeah. But do you have anything else you want to add, or we can wrap this
Uh,
podcast up?
I do want to ask just your thoughts, and we can make this quick, but just with like the recent rumors of Dink Pate, and obviously it's not going to
Hey,
happen now because it had to happen today. Um, but what's your like your thoughts on this overall like the Charles Bediako situation of just like players coming back and like
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on this overall thing?
Yeah, so like I understand G League now because basically it's like going overseas. Like G League and overseas players are basically the same thing where, if you play in the G League, I feel like you have the right to play college basketball as long as you haven't, signed an NBA contract like a two-way contract, like saying, "Hey, I'll play partially in the NBA, partially, in the G League." Like I feel like you've got to sign a G League contract. You can't sign an NBA contract like you were saying with the Alabama player. But once you sign an NBA contract or a two-way contract, I feel like you should not be able to come back to college basketball. But like I said, if you have a G League contract, like Dink Pate, you were saying, like he only signed a G League contract, he's only 19 years old. I feel like, that's fine for him to go back to college basketball if he wants to.
Okay. Yeah, I think, which obviously I think would take a whole lot, but I want it to be back to how it's if you forego your eligibility, like it's done. It is absolutely scratched.
Yeah.
Like for Bediako, I mean, you mentioned you don't like that anyways because he did sign like an Exhibit 10 and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
like even Dink Pate, I'm just kind of like, no, you go to college out of high school, and then like if you skip that, then yeah, you're done. Obviously, you can't just go straight G League now. He was towards the end of that. Um, but like I'm just kind of in the boat that like if you just decide to skip it, you're a grown enough man to deal with the consequences if it doesn't
Yeah.
work out. Like you are, and I think that that should be the same with overseas. I don't know how all their leagues and stuff work, but like Dame Sarr, who is at Duke, I have seen a lot of people on Twitter talk about the fact that he played in essentially the same level as the G League overseas.
Hmm.
But guys like Andrea Yelovich, like there's certain guys that I feel like those are understandable. Like let them come to college basketball.
Right.
And I also think there needs to be like an age limit
Yeah.
because like there's some guys that are like I don't remember how old some of these guys are, but like it might be Heinz Steinbach at Washington that I'm thinking of. But there's certain guys, I don't know how old he is, but there's some guys that are like 23 coming over as freshmen, and I'm just like, this is
Yeah.
completely messed up. So they've got to get it under control. Like it's
I agree.
completely all messed up.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to know. I just don't like especially the midseason
Yeah,
thing. Like
mid-season.
that throws me off crazy. I
Hmm.
absolutely hate that. If
Yeah,
Dink
I
Pate
agree.
was to come next year, then like part of me'd be like, you know what, all right, man, like we'll figure this out
Yeah.
and we'll get it worked out. But like I just hate it. I hate
Yeah.
that you'll see somebody. I think part of it that just kind of rubs me the wrong way is that I feel like I know it's the what's the Knicks G League team that Dink Pate plays for?
Weston Chester.
Yeah, Westchester. But so it says Knicks.
Yeah.
So like the fact that I've seen this man wear a jersey that says Knicks and then he plays in college, I'm just like, this can't be.
Yeah.
This can't be right. Like I
Yeah.
know overseas it looks a little bit different, but like it just the whole situation, I just kind of hate it. I just wish it was like if
Me
you
too.
you grow up, you go to college, and then it's the next level, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And like I said, I'm more in favor with the way you're thinking. Like, I would love to see, no G League players, no EuroLeague players, like no players that actually played in the NBA, return back to college. Like, I feel like it should just be, college players. And like, if you do go on, a trip like Colin Chandler did, like he still has 40 years of eligibility. Like, he'll be done playing college basketball at the age of 24, like I get it, there are some exceptions to that and everything, but like you were saying, I'm more on that train where I just want, high school players playing college basketball instead of G League players or overseas or, now NBA players trying to play college basketball again.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about is like the high school aspect of it all. Because if like you can bring back G League guys, then roster construction completely like changes and shifts for the rest of college basketball history
Yeah,
from this point on. And like, yes, Cal used to talk about, and he still does, like the COVID years messed up the entire
yeah,
like high school recruiting and everything because all these guys get all the extra years. Now that's gone. And if you
yeah,
allow this and you allow guys to like take a step forward, then come back, then the high school recruits are just like losing opportunities left and right. And
yeah,
it kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. It should be like high school, then you go to college, and then a certain select group of Europeans, just
mhm,
overseas guys, like they could come play. But it can't be like the top of the top over there and the G League. Like they can all come
yeah,
over and like it
I
just kind
mean,
of messes up what we know
yeah.
college basketball
Yeah,
as.
I agree. I mean, where do you draw that line? Like, that's definitely another question in the future, but like, where do you draw that line with, G League and overseas players? But like I said, I'm more agree with you than anything. Like, yeah, like, I'm not a big fan of these G League players, but I figure it's like the same as, overseas, like G League and overseas are basically the same as long as, like I said, you don't sign that NBA contract, like a two-way contract or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like that the European guys are allowed to come over, but like something. I mean, I think Dame Sar played for like FC Barcelona or something. Like it was a very, very prestigious program.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes over, and obviously he's not the best player in like the country or anything, but he's been a really good player for Duke and stuff. And
Yeah,
like it just all kind of rubs me the wrong way. I'm just like, dude, like let's keep
yeah,
college basketball the way that it was meant to be, as a like
hmm
step to the next level, and
yeah,
not as like a it's not working for me here. It's not what I exactly wanted, so I'm going to go back over here and then try to figure out something. And as for Bediako, I feel like it's more of like I don't really want to go overseas, and it's not really working out for me at the NBA level. So I'll just go back and collect a bunch of NIL money and
yeah.
figure it out that way. And with Alabama, it's just kind of it throws me
Makes
off,
six
man.
figures. Yeah. Well, and one other thing I want to say. I mean, Rick Pitino said last year that he was only recruiting, transfer players. He wasn't even thinking about high school players at all.
Yeah, yeah, that's true too. Like, and the transfer portal, they got to figure out something. Like I think the one time, like the AJ Stores of the world, ironically, it's a podcast we talk about Ole Miss. Like
Yeah.
the AJ Stores of the world, that absolutely sucks. Like,
Yep.
good for him, he's starting to figure it out. He should have never left Wisconsin. Like,
Yeah.
if you are that good at Wisconsin, Wisconsin's not a stepping stool like job or spot. Like, I
hmm
understand Kansas is better, but like, if you are averaging 17 a game and are your second team Big Ten, why are you leaving? Like the
Yeah.
transfer portal, all of that. Like we'll turn this into like a long offseason episode sometime and just talk about. We'll just rant like the old men
Yeah.
yelling at clouds. But
Yeah.
man, it's all just a mess right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a mess. And hopefully, like the NCAA can't really do anything. Hopefully the government can do something and like they can figure out something with college sports overall because it's not exactly happening in basketball. It's also happening in football where you have these players who are like 6 year players or 7 year players or players transferring nonstop. Like it has to stop and there has to be a way to like stop all this transferring and then getting all these, now professional athletes playing college basketball.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I saw today that there's a some dude returning to Miami and it'll be his eighth year of college football. Like that's unbelievable. And then you mentioned it just being like across all the sports and everything. Like I don't know if you've been seeing Darian Mensah, the Duke quarterback, but
Yeah,
he's
I've
like
seen all that.
he's trying to leave and like go to Miami, but he illegally signed something. So then like people Duke is like suing. So like there's like
Yeah,
the
he's
word
got that
suing in
all over.
college sports. I'm just like how have we gotten to this point? Like
Yeah.
this was such a beautiful,
Uh-huh.
awesome, clean sport for so long,
And then it
and
changed after
it
COVID, basically.
yeah, it's just an absolute mess. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand. But I do like I liked Pope's comments that I had never thought of, where it was like with this whole Bediako situation and some of these other ones, like where he had said that like the NCAA can step in a way
Yeah.
that says like, oh, that win that you had against Tennessee,
Doesn't
we're not
count.
really going to count that for you. So you really played 30 games. That doesn't count on your resume. We'll look at these other games because you included Bediako in that one. And then
Yeah.
that whole situation, I don't honestly. Maybe it's just the optimism in me and the sunshine pumper in me. I don't think it's going to work out. I think next week when they do their like
I think
court thing or
I
whatever, I
think it's
think it's
on
going to get
Tuesday.
erased. It's Tuesday
I think
because
so.
I think they play maybe it's either next Tuesday or Wednesday, but I think it's going to get scratched. Then they're going to be like, no, he's ineligible.
I
He
sure
signed
hope so.
two NBA contracts. I think that's going to happen
hmm
because like I think it's going to happen also because the Alabama donor that's a
Yeah.
lawyer is
Yeah.
the one that made sure it could happen. Like he knows that something's going to happen. So
Yeah.
um, if that doesn't happen and Bediako was able to play an entire half year,
It's
I
crazy.
don't know what
Yeah.
this sport is going to end up looking like.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, it changed completely basically after COVID because the NCAA granted everybody an additional year, like a COVID year. So basically, ever since then, it's of course and changed. Of course, it's not all about the NCAA. You had former players or current players suing the NCAA to get eligibility and all that good stuff. So it's not
Yeah,
all it's not all on the NCAA.
yeah, the only thing. The only thing that kind of stinks that I feel like kind of bad for the NCAA, but in a way it's still like their fault a little bit. Is like NIL and transfer portal coming at the same time is
Hmm.
like the most brutal thing ever because they both came with like zero rules. Like it was
Yeah.
like, yes, you can transfer a billion times with zero penalty, you'll always be eligible. But then there's like some where it's like a kid actually like transfers home because his mom is ill or something, and then they'll rule that kid ineligible.
Yeah.
And then like NIL definitely should be a thing.
Yeah.
They've just got to figure out a way to regulate it and like get it under control because it's literally like I mean the whole DJ Lagway situation where he had like transferred to Baylor, but then Ole Miss was like out of nowhere offering like a bag or something. So he
Yeah.
was like, oh, he's going to go visit there. And then Baylor was getting screwed and all of it. And it was like, all right, like this is like, what are we doing? Like
Yeah.
it's there's no rules to it. It's just the wild, wild west.
Yeah. Well, everybody thought it was going to be changed or fixed after the House settlement finally passed over the summer, but that didn't happen.
Nope, that did not happen. They just got to bring a CBA, put rules in, get a good committee, and like because there's never been like a sense of like
Yeah.
control with the NCAA. It always just feels like they just do something random. Like I mentioned,
Yeah.
like one kid's ineligible, one kid's eligible, and like
Yeah.
there's just no reasoning behind anything. They need to get like a legit committee that
Mhm.
talks and breaks these things down and bring former coaches, former players, all this different stuff. Bring them in, let them all make decisions because it just can't it just can't keep going because it's like a
Yeah.
slippery slope that we're in right now.
Yeah, and one other thing, and then we can wrap this podcast up. But Ali Khalifa was ruled ineligible before the season started for Louisville because the NCAA was like, you were healthy enough last year to play towards the tail end of, your last year for college sports and everything. But then, Louisville, they sued the NCAA and he was granted another year of eligibility his last year. Uh, of college eligibility for Louisville, and he's going to finish it up with Pat Kelsey and everything.
Yeah, that whole situation was just messy too, and I just all of it
Yeah.
is crazy. The whole Trinidad Chambliss is wild, saying that he had
Yeah.
swollen tonsils or whatever his excuse is. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on in this sport and just this level of sports, but
Yeah.
like it used to be clean. Yes, it
Yeah.
sucks that Reggie Bush had his like Heisman taken away, but like
Uh-huh.
other than that, there's not a whole lot you can point to that didn't have like some like regulation around it. Like that was
Yeah.
kind of obviously in hindsight he's gotten it back and everything, but like I mean the freaking SMU Pony Express, like that all got freaking screwed over. We had freaking FedEx envelope trouble and we got like not like the blackout where we couldn't be shown on TV and stuff. Like there used to be rules to this. There's
Yep.
nothing now. There's absolutely nothing now.
Yep. There are no rules basically, and that's why I said in one of my most recent articles whenever we were talking about the player that UK is trying to go after and get.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we'll have to just turn it into a long like summer episode when we're just kind of searching for something to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll just have to do a rant, just
Yeah.
us old men talking about the current
So
college
maybe
landscape.
even though I'm only about to turn 27, and what, you're about to turn 24 this year?
Yep,
Yep.
yep. Us old, just we're just a bunch of unks.
Yeah, we're boomers basically now.
Yeah, yeah, essentially.
Yeah. But do you have anything else you want to add? And then we can
No,
wrap. Yeah.
no, I'm
Well,
good. Oh, well, the one thing we had mentioned it with the 11 a.m. tip.
yeah.
The last time we had an 11 a.m. tip, the
Florida.
Florida game
Yeah.
scored 106 points. Let's go do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. Of course, that was last year. Kobe Ray just went off for the UK. So hopefully that's the same thing for UK where, Jasper Johnson maybe goes off for Colin Chandler,
Colin
like you were
Chandler.
saying. But hopefully, UK can get a big win against Ole Miss. But no, we appreciate you all watching on YouTube and listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And this is a late hour podcast, so I'm going to have to get this uploaded early in the morning. So wish me luck. So I'll probably have no sleep going to this Ole Miss game, but it'll be well worth it, hopefully.
Yeah, you'll have to catch some Z's after.
Yeah,
You could get you a little nap or something.
yeah, for sure. But this is Chris Beesmore and
And Cameron Waddle,
signing out. Have a great day, everybody, and go Cats.
go Cats.